Welcome back to Soma. My name's Gordon, or This Dying Earth. Let's continue where we left off yesterday, which was in the makeshift laboratory, belonging to the university presumably, but being currently used by Paul Berg and his associate, David Munshi, who we are meeting. And I looked over yesterday again we see the free spiral, the triskele that I mentioned yesterday, prominent again right at the front of this image. We've got the two olive leaves with the circle in the middle, and that olive leaves in esotericism has specific meaning as well, going back to like Roman days and whatnot, maybe even prior to that, back to like Egypt and Mesopotamia and the Minoan civilizations. But yeah, what I was going to say was I watched over the video again, and I noticed a few interesting things, but one that struck me right off the bat was that, and it could be nothing, it might just be, an error in design, or somebody forgot to put something in. But when Munshi calls, when we wake up from the dream, Munshi calls, and we see his phone number, and the phone is quite prominent, obviously, and it catches our attention. And in place of a picture, there's just like one of these placeholder images where it's like the cutout, or the boundaries of a person, in thick black with a question mark in the middle. The outline, that was the word I was looking for. And then later on, once we go on the train, we take a call from Jesse, and we arrive here at the laboratory. And just as we're outside here, we receive a call from Munshi, but this time we've got a picture of him on the phone. I just found that a bit odd in a game that seems to have a lot of attention to detail so far. Like in Simon's flat, all the wee different clues and whatnot that you can find. And even looking out this window, you can see, flag of Canada and lots of wee details. So yeah, but it could just be a mistake. What were the other things I noticed? There seems to be. So I was looking around his room again, and we see a lot of wee clues, like the book about the brain scans. We see, if we look at his wall, we see posters, and one of them seems to be like somebody in Antarctica or the Arctic or something. One of them is a flower petal that's like got like black stuff all over it. The other one, there you go, there's the actual name of the nebula. That's M23 Ant Nebula, which is a real, that exists out there. If you look up at the sky tonight, somewhere up there, that'll be there. But so he's got all these posters, and then you've got a poster like this in here, which isn't too unusual in a university building maybe. I wonder if that's all clues that we are supposed to pick up on for something or other. And then we've got this wee painting here, which obviously means nothing, probably. But, And then again, there's the Arctic again. What's that? Atmospheric Administration, US National Oceanic Atmosphere. So that's maybe in Antarctica, down south. South Pole. And I was in, like I say, I'd mentioned in the previous video that unfortunately I'd ran into some kind of catastrophe where the video didn't record but the audio did, and the commentary did, much to my annoyance, because that was my first reactions to this game. And I think the commentary in the original was better than the one that I made yesterday, but never mind, that's the way things go sometimes. So I know that there's nothing in this room. Well, I couldn't find anything in this room the first time I went through it. Pace. I didn't notice anything interesting there. So room 364.
Oh, hi. Didn't hear you come in. Simon Jarrett, right?
Dr. Munshi?
Well, it's just Mr. Munshi, but I'm working on it. Actually, you're helping me right now.
Is this part of your thesis work?
Yeah, it's a study I'm doing with my colleague Paul Berg. We hope to design a gentle way to work with brain reconstruction to help people like you. Oh, did you take the tracer fluid?
Yes, I did.
Great. Well, we can start whenever you're ready.
So, what exactly are we doing?
We're going to do a scan of your brain. Then we build a computer model of it and bombard it with stimuli. The program will help us to quickly iterate your treatment plan until it's fully optimized. In short, develop the perfect treatment for your condition.
So it's not just a study, this will actually help me.
Well, I should hope so.
Simon, get
Otherwise,
down
this
to
would
the
be a huge waste
practicalities.
of time.
Quite right. You know, that's a lot of concepts that end up, you know, being implemented in the real world are first proposed in the world of science fiction, like, you know, Star Trek's medical scanners, which are now starting to be come to
Please, have a
fruition.
seat.
Teleportation, and you can go through the history of science fiction, you'll find concepts and ideas that eventually make it to reality. And yeah, I wonder if this is going to be one that we will eventually see in the future. Probably. I mean, I'm sure that there are, you know, very intelligent people out there currently working
Just have
on
a seat.
systems such
We'll
as
be out of
this,
here in no time.
where we, like I mentioned it all yesterday about how you know, you can run simulations and try and find the best optimal treatment plan for a patient given a certain condition. That reminds me of this graphic on the right monitor. It reminds me of the Ant Nebula down there for some reason.
Please,
Again, there's
have
a
a seat.
significance to it. I don't know. Maybe they just like the Ant Nebula. And we see these nice patterns here, and there'll be some nice mathematics behind these kind of things. And that was one of the things I talked about in the original video. That I don't know whether if I should mention it. Wait
Just
until
have
we
a
get
seat.
to
We'll be out of here in no time.
until we see more spirals. But yesterday I'd started to talk about the Fibonacci sequence and and the history behind it and how it's
Please, have a seat.
present in so many natural phenomena. That it's just so interesting. But I'll talk to it when it's more germane to do so. Let's see. I think he's got more to say.
You know I have a serious condition, right? You heard about the car crash, the X months to live deal?
Yes, I heard. Must be hard having to hear that. As you know, it's because your brain is weakened so much that it can start to bleed every so often.
And if it ever gets real bad, it will kill me.
Well, we probably can't restore your brain completely, but we should be able to make those X months turn into years, decades even. And if you take care of yourself and don't do anything too crazy, we should be able to get you to outlive the best of us.
Well, that's quite ambitious for a guy that's you know, just working on his doctoral. This is part of his doctoral thesis, I guess. You know, that seems like quite a bombastic and fantastical statement to make. That, yeah, you know,
Just have a seat.
promising
We'll be out of here
Simon
in
that
no
he can
time.
outlive the best of us, you know, the healthiest of us, seems in one sense unfair, but maybe the guy's a nice guy, and you know, he's got good intentions when he says things like that. He's just trying to reassure Simon and, you know, make him feel better about his condition.
I really hope you're right about this.
Me too. This could make a huge difference for how we treat people with brain damage.
And the rest.
So, what do you say? Should we get going?
Sure. Let's get started.
Take a
Oh.
seat.
I like his pants and shirt. I like that fashion. Good choice, Munshi. Oh, I can talk to him.
Have a seat. Whenever you're ready,
I wonder if he gets impatient if you continue to pester him.
let's get this show on the road.
How many different ways has he got of saying, let's go?
Whenever you're ready, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, I mentioned in the first video as well that when I was younger, I wanted to. I started towards a career in medicine, and I wanted to actually become a neurologist. But somewhere
Please,
along the
have a
way,
seat.
my plan went awry. Managed to get all the grades necessary to study medicine. Went to an access to medicine course, but failed the interview, and I actually started to study neuroscience. But I'd put so much effort
Just
into
have a
medicine
seat.
that I felt
Be out
like
of here in no time.
no, I should just stick with what I originally intended to do. But yeah. Anyway, let's go on with the game. So I wonder how this system works. Well, we know we took the contrast fluid, so I guess it's going to measure rates of change and possibly the gross anatomy of your
All
brain
right,
and nervous
let me just
system,
get this out of
or
the
part
way.
of your nervous system.
You are Simon Jarrett, correct?
Right.
Toronto, Canada. David Munshi. Born 1988, July 16th.
Right.
Flat neurograph. Version 6. Good. All files in order.
Will this hurt?
It's just a scan. It'll hurt about as much as getting your picture taken.
Indians thought cameras would steal their souls.
That's so. Well, let's hope they're wrong.
I've heard that before. I think it was
Ready?
in that TV show.
Say cheese.
Sorry. Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute about the
What
TV show.
happened? Hello? Mr. Munshi? Did something go wrong?
Actually, that's.
This isn't funny.
I wish I'd had a better look at Simon's hands and arms if we were able to.
I'm not supposed to put myself in...
Stressful situations, true. To see if there was big differences there.
This
But,
is kind of stressing me out.
So I'll say to you once I reach the point where my recording
Hey!
the other day
Anyone?
had led to, because I think it's only fair to let you know, because I know how to navigate this room and to solve the problem that occurs in this room. So I'll just go on with it as quickly as I can. I didn't quite. It took me a
How did I get
second or two to get this. I mean, I initially instantly seen this smashed window. Went over to try this, I think. Messed around with computer terminals.
No need to make
And then
things worse.
realised that, yeah. So that was the way out. But, oh shit, I wish it's something I'd tried to see before I put the light on, was to see if this blood was here, because when I initially played this, I don't think I'd seen that there was blood there when I got off the seat, and I wondered if the blood came from me, or if it was, you know, there originally when we got here. And in the original commentary, I kind of came to the conclusion, I was trying to work out what these suits, the purpose of these suits, and I came to the conclusion that they were unlikely to be for space, you know, extravehicular activities in space, because you need, like, you know, the spacesuits are bulkier for a reason, for the purposes of, like, is it convection or the other, you know, for the transfer of heat away from the body and whatnot. So yeah, this wouldn't work for space, I don't think, because it's hard for your body to radiate heat away in that environment in space. But yeah, anyway, so I worked out that these might be wetsuits, which seems fair enough to me. Yeah, the TV program I was going to mention was there's oh, now I've forgotten his name, but it's got the ex-James Bond actor in it. Is it Timothy Dalton? Is it Timothy Dalton? And Eva Green. And I can't remember the name of the show. It's set in Victorian England. And yeah, I remember them talking about, like, you know, cameras stealing your soul. This concept that certain cultures believed that, you know, the camera was the work of of evil, and it had malicious capabilities. You know, it was capable of stealing your essence. It's a really good show, that one, actually. I'll put the name of it down in the description below. So yeah, like, been here, been through there, and you've got these wee, like, records of the people that had, you know, been here and worked here before we'd arrived.
Oh, it's working better than expected. They're having a really hard time getting the doors open.
I'll permaseal as many as you can, rather than take any chances.
Roger. Did you cut off the factory floor?
All done? Should keep most of them out. I'm on my way to lock off the comm center.
Just make sure to leave a way out of here.
Trust me, I'll get you to Theta safe and sound. We just need to make sure we leave enough power running so we don't have to return.
I hear that. See you back at camp.
So what interests me when I heard that the first time,
How did I do that?
obviously my questions are, where are we? How did we get here? Yeah, and So it sounds like it's some kind of factory or something. From, you know, if you take that record there, and then once we get in that room, you'll see some evidence maybe for that. This is a factory of sorts, maybe. And something's gone wrong, and the people at work here have had to, like, you know, fashion some kind of escape. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out as we go on. Mirror's broken. And Chinese, or is it Chinese writing? I know that Korean writing looks like moons and stars and things. If you see these kind of, let's say, circles and things, you're looking at Korean writing. I don't know if this is Mandarin, Cantonese, or Japanese. Is it kanji? And I can't remember the name of the Japanese alphabet. Kanji, I think, or... Don't know why I'm doing this. I've been here before. Again, posters. Home is a state of mind. And yeah, like just from the wee comment, you know, like it's thought that cameras could steal your soul, and I know that the overall themes of this game are about identity and whatnot. So home is, I think it said home is a state of mind. So I guess this game is going to be a lot about perceptions and, you know, how you view yourself in place and time, and how that gives context to who you are. So we can see these are the machines maybe that are being manufactured here. Okay, that's pretty creepy. And yeah, I noticed this yesterday. There was like, yeah, your heart rate seems to go up under certain conditions. Pathos too. So this maybe is the name of the facility where we currently find ourselves. Again, we've got the olive branches. Where else? Yeah, so we've seen the olive branches back in Canada, in the Pace laboratories. Although the middle was different, yeah. This one, yeah.
Hey you. Can you talk? Can you talk like the others?
Yesterday, at first, I thought there was somebody else in here or somebody watching us, but
Why are you like this?
yeah, I don't think it is. I think this is us.
You want some structure, Joe? Yeah, you do.
She's talking to it like it's a dog.
So weird. Doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna shut you down now, okay? Yeah, you're creepy as hell, so I'm gonna shut you down.
Yeah, she's anthropomorphizing. Yeah, this happened yesterday as well, or the other day. And then that one was gone. And oil, some kind of oil leaked out. I don't think the machines are very well manufactured down here. They look pretty bust up. We need to get the Germans involved, you know, they know how to manufacture things. But seriously though, yeah, so the other question obviously that came to mind when I first came through here was, wait a minute, we've not reached this stage of technological advancement where we can manufacture machines that look like this well, I guess we can manufacture machines that look like that, but presumably these have practical, you know, duties, and they're able to undertake maybe, you know, complex instructions. That's maybe an assumption too far, but they seem to have purpose. You know, they've got like the equivalent of our hands, you know, like pincers that are able to manipulate. They're obviously hydraulic in nature, you know, to require a fuel source and whatnot. But so yeah, so one of the other things I talked about in the original commentary, and I'm sorry I keep repeating that, you know, original commentary, but there was a lot of things that I talked about. It was like an hour long video, but yeah, the idea of the singularity, the technological singularity. Ray Kurzweil is the current, #1 proponent of such a concept. But I believe he wasn't the one that actually originally came up with the idea of this technological singularity where, and excuse me if I get this wrong, I mean, it's about a decade ago since I looked into all that, and I really took a major interest in, not a major, but I took a big interest in it, and I've read all the books that I could find about it, and Kurzweil's done pretty well off of it, popularising the idea and marketing it. But absolute genius of a mathematician, von Neumann. You've probably heard of von Neumann machines. These are like conceptualized machines that self-replicate, and I think I could be wrong. I know that I think this is the general gist of his idea, this von Neumann machine. But it self-replicates, and you're able to spread it throughout the galaxy or the universe. First of all, it will start in your own solar system. They then spread, and replicate, and it's like an exponential sequence. So the growth and the number of these machines would just multiply massively, and over a short space of time, you would be able to reach territory. Under normal circumstances, if you were just to go to one solar system after another solar system with the same machine, would take, an impossible amount of time. So, yeah, anyway, but von Neumann was this genius mathematician, Hungarian born, but worked in America during the World War II in the Manhattan Project. He was considered by many to be the world's most intelligent man. He was actually hired by Ford, the Ford Motor Company, once to come and solve a problem, and charged him an exorbitant fee of $5,000 at the time, which I think was in the 30s or 40s, was a huge amount of money. Ford asked him for an itemised bill, and he sent back a note saying something along the lines of, it's actually like the precursor to the MasterCard adverts, price of a trip to such and such, and then, your smile or whatever, priceless. But he wrote on it, price, cost to draw a line, $1. Cost to know where to draw a line, $4,999. So he had a bit of wit about him. And yeah, he was, I think, the first to come up with this idea of that one day we'll, have the ability for AI to reach a level of sentience where it can look at the original, its original design and improve upon it and iterate. It would be like a form of evolution for machines and for artificial intelligences. And that once we reach that stage, the human, what's the right word to use here? Our endeavours and our ability to affect change in the reality maybe become subservient to the will, if such a thing can exist in a machine or an artificial intelligence. So let's say it can, let's say that they have a will and they can direct it in the universe and in reality, then maybe, our wishes and plans and agendas and motivations will become subservient to the strong AI desires and intentions. But anyway, sorry, we're getting a wee bit sidetracked now. So we've seen that this beast has obviously escaped, or it's gone, or it's something that's come back to life. And if we look around here, we can see it's burst through here. We can see the trail left by the oil, and it's came through here. So this is roughly, I got a wee bit further up here, and then that was when I stopped. But we can see, yeah, I don't know if I've talked about this already, but we've got this like organic, it looks kind of like half organic, half machined, half robotic matter that just seems to be growing everywhere. It's like a mold growth or something. It just seems to be spreading and spreading, and we see it further up as well. So maybe this is what went wrong. Maybe something went out of control. And I notice as well, it seems to be, like you see it like going towards consoles and things like that on the wall. So again, another one of these beasts. I mean, there's been a few... Oh, I didn't get this far. Okay. So I guess like Amnesia and whatnot, it's going to be similar, that you have to avoid certain enemies, if you can call them enemies, but antagonists maybe, that impede your ability to go forward, and that came from in there, yeah. But there's one of those clasps there, you know, these locks, pneumatic seals, so I want to know what's behind here if I can possibly do so. Curiosities maybe get the better of me here. Maybe this isn't a good idea, but we'll give it a go. Is there a light? Oh. Hopefully this isn't too dark for you guys. I wonder if I should bump the brightness up. No, I'll leave it just now and we'll see how it goes. If anybody's got any complaints about the brightness, let me know and I can certainly increase it. So we've got this organic material again. And there's this idea that was famously espoused by Prince Charles, this black goo idea. And I don't know if this is, maybe there's more to this than just oil, because, you know, we've got it here. It seems to be present quite a lot of places. But yeah, there's this concept about black goo that, you know, there's going to be like nano machine. Sounds like there's somebody walking behind me there. There's nano machines in them, and that this black goo would have the ability to self-replicate and basically would end up, you know, covering the entire planet, you know, rendering us incapable of growing things. That in order for it to survive, you know, the machines inside the goo, in order for them to survive, they would gobble up all our resources. And yeah, so I know from the other day that we were looking for a tool, because the console in the room that we, you know, wake up in says that, you know, there's an Omni tool, I think it's called, and Omni tool, and it's required in order to do something. So I had the idea that we would be looking for something like this. So AI helper Jane, and here's some information about it. So it seems like it's one of these tools that allows you to interact with the surroundings, and that makes sense from a plot perspective. So don't need to read all that, I don't think. Now we know that in Simon's apartment there was some important, well, I don't know if it was important, but there was things to be found in the drawers. So I guess we should keep a lookout for things. And there's a lot of objects you can manipulate here, but I don't know if there's anything necessarily that important. Oh, we've got the t-shirt with the olive branches and the circle in it. I'll need to find out the meaning of the olive branches, because I know there is one. I can run. But I like the atmosphere so far. Yeah, there's been a few games where, that was what I was going to mention earlier on, where, like in Blade Runner and whatnot, I think it's either, yeah, like the idea that the Chinese, oh, and there was the Joss Whedon TV show and movie about, you know, the space, like Buccaneers, space pirates and whatnot, where Chinese is like the predominant language. It's the lingua franca. Okay.
Ah, shit!
Okay, so an obvious hazard here. So there's water in the ground and there's an electrical discharge here. Can I jump? Yeah. Just some cables. They look more ominous from a distance, but I like the lighting in this game. It's really good, and it really does add to the atmosphere and the smoke and whatnot. So the only way we can go is this way. Okay, so yeah, like I thought, you used this tool is going to be used to get through doors and whatnot. So presumably we need to go back to the room that we originally woke up in. Can I get in here? In order to do something about that, this tool we're using. See, things like in storytelling, there's a concept called Chekhov's gun, and if you place something prominently in a scene, and it applies to gaming story conventions as well. Okay, so we see a light further up ahead, so this might be that beast that was in here. We'll go in here first. Maybe we should close the door behind us, but we've got an open window there, so I don't suppose it really matters. Okay, so yeah, in Chekhov's gun's idea that if you place something in a scene or setting, it's going to be used, by an actor, or it's going to be used to further the plot. Yeah, so when I seen this, get the impression that we're going to need it. It's so prominent in the room. It takes up, it catches your attention massively. Okay, so build, shape, and optimize your tool with fully customized tools system.
Service console up to 3, including pilot seat.
Pilot seat.
Activated.
Wow. So pilot seat would give you the idea that it's it's used to operate something, to drive something, to control something. So let's see, Jesus Christ, look at the date, it's 2103-0509, so the 9th of May, assuming that we're reading the American system, or 2100, the year 2103, wow. So maybe Munshi did say, I suppose, the last thing he said was, that you'll outlive the best of us, and maybe that was, looking back, maybe he was right. But maybe we fell into a coma, during the scan. But if we were in a coma, why would we wake up in a seat like that, behind us? You would wake up in a hospital bed in the future or whatever. Maybe this is the hospitals of the future. I hope not. Maybe those things that we see out there are the nurses of the future. Anyway, running setup. Emergency systems, 13 days remaining. That's another thing you see in storytelling. Time is very important to the telling of stories. So in most films that you'll see nowadays, especially Hollywood fare, there'll be some kind of countdown. They call it the ticking. I think they call it a ticking bomb scenario or something like that, where this idea that a protagonist has to achieve something or overcome something in a certain amount of time, and it puts massive, it excites the audience and puts the character under pressure and allows for lots of different scenarios and dramatic tension. So this is just gibberish, presumably. Oh no, David Munshi in the middle there. 2015 version 1 Toronto. Operation unavailable, blah blah. Oh, there's Simon Jarrett above. So that's really unusual. Let's take it, well, there's the dates changed, 09/05/2104. So let's take it, and I presume that is the date. I mean, it looks like a conventional dating system. So let's say that is the date. And we know that we've got robots here that aren't contemporaneous with, what we're used to. So let's say that this is the date, and why would it mention, ourselves and Munshi, almost 100 years into the future? Welcome back, Louise Muron. Upsilon. Your Omni-Tool is perfect condition but not fitted with a tool chip. Note that without a tool chip, your FST kit will be unavailable, including your cross-site security access. To continue, please insert and run an upgrade. Okay. Your Omni-Tool is in perfect condition but not fit with a Cortex chip. You are currently being serviced the default onboard intelligence helper Jane. So installing a Cortex chip may override Helper Jane, and we might not get as good an experience. Alright. So it's placing a lot of not importance, but putting a lot of weight in thingy Helper Jane's shoulders. She better be good.
I know they told you that field technicians would get full access throughout Pathos 2. I'm here to tell you that's not gonna happen. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to get in your way. We need you guys to keep this place up and running, but there needs to be at least some level of security on these things. I don't want to hear you barge
I missed that, the hierarchy.
quarantined area at Omicron and just knocked out the whole place with some virus.
So we've got
Whatever the hell they're doing
Upsilon,
over there.
Lambda, Delta,
This is
Tau.
what you can do. You'll be able to use it to open doors. Basically all of them. If you can't, there's something wrong or someone didn't want you in there. Then what do? You shove that Omnitool into a terminal and see if you can't get around it somehow. I mean, sometimes you'll need to get into places where you don't belong. Just find a way. You're an engineer, for crying out loud. What else? Take care of your gear. Don't be an asshole. That's about it, really. My name is John Strohmeyer, Pathos 2 security operative. I got an office at Theta.
Jeez, he
Come
looks
see
like the
me if you got
security
any issues you
operative.
can't handle yourself. Good luck.
So he is in Theta, and we're in, are we in Upsilon? Yeah. Inventory. Oh, hi, Matsu. Power suits stored at Omicron. So, aye, that's right, we've got 6. We can see over on the right there, we've got 5 and 6 that are missing. So, they're in use just now, so that suggests that there's maybe the people we're hearing on the recorders are using those suits and are still around.
Tool chip found.
Ooh, chip bound. And that was said in a very crisp and precise way.
Tool chip security cipher. Updated.
She's got that computer, so the woman that's made that, you know, that's recorded that voice has got that computer sound, that clipped computer sound down to a T. Doo, chip. Okay. So yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these 2 are missing. The computer says they're in use. So we've seen something moving down here, so I wonder if we can... Yep. So that was this... I hope this isn't a nurse, because it bloody bashed its way, assuming it's the same thing that was from in there, it's bashed its way through there. It seems a bit clumsy and destructive. So you can, I found out that you can do this, you know, the right bumper. When I first played through this, using your, you can kind of like swing your way around walls. Not swing your way around walls, but you can peek round corners. Okay, is that the light from that beast? Or is that just that electricity? Yeah. And this just takes us back, presumably, around the circle. I don't think there was anything else. I mean, if it just goes round in a circle like that. Wow. So we are underwater. Upsilon. Some drawings. What's that? Maybe just pressure being released or something. I hope that beast thing doesn't come down here, because it was, presumably it's walking around up there. Like nothing happened, everything still looks the same. All silence alike. Those fish look particularly angry. Hammerhead shark down the bottom right there. Spyro again, there we've got the Spyro. Next to the, like, you know, the sea snake, what do you call them? Eels or something? Like some kind of eel-like creature. Yeah, there must be more to this Spyro than meets the eye because they wouldn't include it all. Oh, there's what these.
Amy, are you there?
I'm here.
Ready to let it go yet?
I guess so.
Plenty of opportunity to go zen on the fishes back at Theta.
I'm gonna miss this place.
Up so long?
Come on. We've worked here for years. You're not even gonna miss it a little bit?
A power plant full of psychotic machines. I'll find a way to go.
That's cold, man. It's not Upsilon's fault it got swarmed.
Whatever. Seal that thing and get back to camp already.
Roger that.
So, confirmation there that the machines have gone mad. He called them psychotic, and she apparently, that Amy character, is going to miss it here. Okay, I think I'll leave it here today because we've got quite far now. Well, not quite far, but we've got further than I'd imagined we would. Yeah, and I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I'll be back with more of Soma. Thank you.